Hey music lovers, Sara J here. Looking for an inclusive space where you can connect with fellow fans, deep dive into your favorite music, and be a part of something special? Well, look no further. Join us on Patreon, where music and community come together. Get exclusive content, behind the scenes access, and a place to geek out over the artists you love, plus explore music you haven't heard yet. Come hang out with us. Patreon.com/DATC Media Company. That's patreon.com/DATC Media Company. See you there. A member of the DATC Media family. Hey everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this week of Dropped Among This Crowd. I'm your host, Sara J. I hope you're able to check out last week's show where I chatted about the iconic relationship between the Allman Brothers Band and the Beacon Theater. That show was inspired by the book that I actually just finished reading like yesterday, the time of this recording. The book was called One Way Out by Alan Paul. And as I said last week, definitely a recommended read. Sara J stamp of approval for sure. And thank you to everybody that reached out and said not only that they loved the episode topic, but had actually gotten the book, whether they had gotten the book from their library or they ordered one or were doing the audiobook thing, that they enjoyed it, that they were really pleased with the recommendation. So that makes me super happy to hear. So thank you to everybody that reached out and shared those encouraging bits of feedback. So because I finished that book yesterday, I started a new one this morning. So stay tuned. I'll be sharing some more on that as I get into it. I read the first chapter today and I'm already digging it. So stay tuned. I will share some more about that. And being the book lover that I am, and getting the feedback that I did, I thought, why not share a few more of my favorite reads? So that's what we're going to do this week on the show. But before we get into that, a couple of random things. If you are looking for more Sara J in your life this week, I will be live on Wednesday night, tomorrow. If you are listening to this when it drops on February 3rd, I will be on my buddy JD's show, The Hip on Shuffle. I will be a part of a panel discussing the Tragically Hip's tune Fire in the Hole. I'm really excited to get into this song. There's all sorts of fun little pieces that I've found and have been told to me, and different fun versions of this song that I've been able to dive into. And actually, I just saw the Strictly Hip play this song live when I saw them on Friday. So there's all these fun little things that I'm going to bring to the table for the conversation tomorrow night. So yeah, I will put a link in the show notes if you're interested in joining me live if you want. Also, this week, it is February, and so it is Black History Month. And over on the Patreon, there is this really great collection that honors the brilliance, voices, creativity, and influence of Black musicians. A wonderful place to explore and check out some great videos and listen to some great things and not gonna lie, probably be a bit inspired. It is a living and breathing collection. So as time goes on, there will be other things that are added to that. By no means is it any way, shape, or form close to scratching the surface of the influence of Black musicians for sure. But there is a lot of great content over there. And if you're interested in contributing to this or any of the collections over on Patreon, feel free to reach out. I'm always looking for collaborative writers and things to put content over there. If you have any sort of expertise about a subject, that would be fantastic too. So yeah, reach out if you're interested in any of that stuff. And if you're interested in checking out the Black History Month collection over on Patreon, you can do that at patreon.com/DATC Media Company. All right, so let's get into it. I mean, for sure, this is in no way, shape, or form a complete list of favorites. This is a very nice list that I'm going to give you guys, and I know that I will think of others after I stop recording this. I'm sure I will think of other books and be like, oh shit, I forgot. But I did a nice little sweep through my house on my bookshelves, and I also went through my camera roll because if you follow me on social, I usually post what I'm reading in my Insta stories. So I went back through my camera roll to be like, oh yeah, I forgot I read that one or this one, because there's many books that I get from the local library, so they're not obviously on my shelf for me to remember that I read them. I always encourage checking your local library first. I'm a big library lover. My son, Brendan, too. We love our library visits. So this list, I always encourage people to definitely check the local library first, or if there is any other sort of community library where you live. But for those who want a copy, I've included Amazon links in the show notes to grab your favorites. All right, so let's get into this list. First up, Me by Elton John. Play On, Now, Then, and Fleetwood Mac by Mick Fleetwood. The Never-Ending Present by Michael Barclay. Brian May, The Definitive Biography by Laura Jackson. This Is Our Life by The Tragically Hip. That is such an amazing coffee table book, and a lot of people wouldn't actually read all of the words in there, but I totally sat down and read that entire coffee table book cover to cover. It was so good, and it's so beautiful. Anyway, back to the list. The Storyteller by Dave Grohl. Heartbreaker, a Memoir by Mike Campbell. The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. Somebody to Love, The Life, Death, and Legacy of Freddie Mercury by Matt Richards and Mark Langthorne. Goldust Woman, The Biography of Stevie Nicks by Stephen Davis. Leave On, From the Down in the Delta to the Birth of the Band and Beyond by Sandra B. Tooze, Tooze. Like I said, there'll be links and everything in the show notes, so you'll be able to find these books easily. The Birth of Loud, Leo Fender, Les Paul, and the Guitar Pioneering Rivalry That Shaped Rock and Roll by Ian S. Port. Phenomenal read. That is definitely highly recommended, especially if you are a guitar nerd and you've never read that book. I highly recommend it. It was recommended to me a bunch of times, and it was one of those things where it just kept coming up, and I was like, oh, I haven't read it yet. But that is definitely one that you do not want to miss if you are a guitar nerd like I am. The Show That Never Ends by David Weigel. A Step Ahead and Two Steps Back, The Life and Death of the Original Kramer Guitar Company, 1976 to 1991, by Michael F. Plunkett. Davy Jones and the Six, by Taylor Jenkins Reid. There was also a show on Amazon under the same name. I think it was only one season. I watched it like years ago. But yeah, if that's your vibe, if you pick up that book, there is also a show on Amazon. Musicians in Tune by Jenny Boyd. Jenny Boyd, among many things, but in this vein, the name may be familiar to those listening. Patty Boyd was her sister. Patty Boyd, obviously, Eric Clapton, George Harrison fame, for lack of a better description. But Jenny Boyd was actually married to Mick Fleetwood. So she has a very interesting perspective of musicians and the way that they create and such. So that's a phenomenal book, too. I believe she has a PhD as well. Exactly what in is escaping me right now. Let me see here, because now I want to look this up for, to give her the accolades that she deserves. So let me see here. Musicians in Tune, 75 contemporary musicians discuss the creative process by Jenny Boyd, including interviews with 75 musicians. She's a psychologist. Yeah, psychologist who interviewed musicians over the years. Yeah, that is another really phenomenal book. That would definitely be top of a list of one that I would read if these are all new to you. That's definitely a phenomenal book for sure. A Hard Day's Right, the stories behind every Beatles song by Steve Turner. Everything I Know About Business I Learned from the Grateful Dead by Barry Barnes. Jamaica, the history of the jam band and festival scene by Peter Connors. Not Dead Yet, the autobiography by Phil Collins. Another really, really great book. And finally on this list, Life by Keith Richards. That is also a really, really great book. Yeah, all right. That's a nice little list there for you. And like I said at the top of the show, I always encourage checking your local library first, or if you guys have one of those little free libraries. I know there's some cute little neighborhoods out there that still have those things, or if you find a used book sale somewhere or something, definitely check out those resources first before you order a book is my recommendation. But if you do want a copy, I've included the Amazon links in the show notes so that you can easily grab them, or you can get the audiobook that way if you have Audible, or I know some libraries also have a free audiobook streaming service thing as well. So lots of ways to consume these really, really awesome books. And feel free to hit me up and let me know if you read any of these, if you loved them, if you hated them, what you thought of them, or if you have any book recommendations for me. Please send me an email, droppedamongthiscrowdpod@gmail.com, or you can send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook. I'm on the socials. Y'all know where to find me. So yeah, definitely hit me up with your book recommendations. There are a handful of these on this list that I gave to you guys that were definitely recommended to me, either by people in my life or actually here on the show. So yeah, definitely hit me with your recommendations. I'm always looking for books to put on my list, and I've been reading a bunch lately, which is so good. But my next up to read list is getting a little thin, so definitely hit me up with your book recommendations. So yeah, I think that's everything I have for this week of the show. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you around these parts next week. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. Please be sure to leave a review of the show. It would mean so much to me, and it helps get this podcast into the ears of even more fellow music fans. If you're not already following the show on social media, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Dropped Among This Crowd Podcast, or check out datcmediacompany.com for more. Thank you again. I'll see you around these parts real soon. Mad love.